So not getting your goals done really mean you suck. Wait a minute. Let me explain. There's this term called executive dysfunction. Ever heard of it? Let me explain. So executive dysfunction, if you look right here, is a term that is searched out over 135,000 times a month. So that leads me to believe that executive dysfunction means a lot of us suck. But let's go into that. What exactly does executive dysfunction mean? So I decided to look it up a little bit using a couple of AIs and then create a great article that's going to go on to make me some money. Let me show you. Using Perplexity AI, I looked up executive dysfunction. And oh my goodness, look at all the things that are related to executive dysfunction. Now, as marketers, it is our job to look at this and ask the question of how can I make some money off of this and maybe even solve your own problem. So I looked up this word and I found out that executive dysfunction refers to a range of cognitive, emotional, and behavioral challenges that affect an individual's ability to manage thoughts and actions effectively. Now, anybody that's ever suffered from new shiny thing syndrome, or as a result of not being able to get done with their goals, having a whole bunch of 3/4 done projects, well, this is you. So looking at this gives me an idea. I wonder if I can write an article and have that article scale to a way that I can start the discussion about executive dysfunction. Now, I've got a couple of friends in the executive training space, the leadership space. So my first thought was perhaps as I do this article, I can now send it to them and they can benefit from it as well. So what I did next is I went over and I said, well, okay, since it's that much traction, it's that much search around this, what would it be like if I created some images and then maybe some articles around it? So I decided to go ahead and plug it in to some other AI tools and see what kind of articles came out of it. I'm going to show you that in a minute. But first, let's take a look at this. So using one of the coolest tools that I've come around over at Niches, and that's how it's spelled, Niches with three S's. I was able to plug in that particular title. And then I said, well, Niches, go ahead and generate me a 833 word article. And it did a really bang up job. So I looked at that and I thought, well, that's incomplete. Who wants to just put a whole bunch of AI written kind of articles out there? So next, I decided to add a little bit to this. This is telling me what it is. This is telling me strategies to overcome it. Now, keep in mind, you're solving your own problem so that you don't suck anymore. So I wanted to find out what was this executive dysfunction? How can I use it? And then how can I present it in a way that makes us some money? So I'm going to show you that. So the next thing I did was I says, well, I'm going to need a couple of images with this. What would that look like? And if I use only AI, could I create these images very quickly? So for this part, I decided to use ChatGPT to come up with a couple of images. It didn't do a very good job. There's a guy sitting down in the lotus position. So I plugged in a different type of prompt and it still came up with the same thing. I wasn't very happy with that. And this is a custom GPT. So I'm using a custom GPT here. So I wanted to get something that looked more realistic because if you notice here, a photograph portraying a person engaged in a mindful practice in meditation. And then right here, I wanted a rich colors, texture of Kodak 400 Go. It just didn't do a good job. I wanted a realistic picture. So for that, I used a different AI. Let me show you. So instead of using ChatGPT, I decided to use Leonardo.ai. So check that out when you get a chance. It is a very good one. I put the same prompt in, a photograph portraying a person engaged in mindfulness practice, and this is what it generated. This is fantastic. I love this one because it looks a little bit more realistic and it did exactly what I needed it to do. Create me a really good image that allowed me to then plug this into the article. And for the article, what I decided to do was put it in a Google Doc. first things first, executive dysfunction, and then go into it a little bit. Now we have something interesting. I've got the very first photo that I actually was able to create really, really well using those AIs. Nice title. We'll explore that in a minute. So I've got the first person that has too many things to think about, which really dives into what executive dysfunction is. You're not able to make decisions. Now, for the opportunity to monetize this and the opportunity to, use it for yourself is obvious. First, I want to read all that's in here. What I'm going to do next, I'm going to show you how we're going to monetize each part of this. So we got a nice little article. We've got different headings, and then under each heading, we have the words. Now, I had to do a little, something to this one because oftentimes when you get a picture, sometimes the words don't work. So I was able to go ahead and put that in Canva and then do some magic with the words, take some stuff out. And this is what you can also do. I've got videos on that, on how to use Canva to change out words and all that kind of stuff. So if you get a chance, check that out. I'll put it in the description field if I remember to do it. So now what I've got is image, really cool. Words, image, really cool. And then the last one, I've got the image that Leonardo did. So as you see, we're going to be using, oftentimes we may use multiple AIs to do exactly what you need to do. Right now, I try to use the free version, although I do have the paid version for ChatGPT. So in this case, we've got a really, really good article that now we can place that article in various spots. Key thing is, remember that this thing is getting 135,000 searches a month. And if you notice, the competition is low for that particular word, although there are tons of people talking about it, just that keyword. So you're likely to rank for that, given the fact that it is being searched out in the way that it is. And this is monthly searches. Now you can make a nice piece of change from that. If you notice here, 2-year trend line on Google Trends is also showing that that word, executive dysfunction, that phrase is being searched out, and it has been for a long time. You are in the money. Now, when we go to create our article, or if we decide to put it in newsletter format, if you've moved on from the idea that blogs don't work, which they still do, if you've moved on from that idea and you don't believe this works, then think again. We create the article, whether it is in newsletter format or not, blog format, whatever you want to do. And now we have some other words that are also getting really good searches. Executive function, right? Now we got executive function and we got executive dysfunction. As you see, for my friends that are in the leadership space, they could be all over that. So I'm going to literally present this to them and say, hey, would you like to buy this from me? I've already done all the work. I've done all the background work. And this becomes another opportunity for you to earn a good living from this stuff, right? So look at this. We got all these different things that we can write about related to this executive function, or in this case, executive dysfunction. Okay. Now, after that, what we're going to do is take our article and we're going to place our article in various spots that get a lot of traffic for that keyword. Number one, I'm going to definitely put it on LinkedIn. You put it on LinkedIn, put it as an article. I happen to have a master's degree in organizational management, so it's consistent with what I do. I also am an AI enthusiast, which I also have on my LinkedIn page. So that also gives you an opportunity now to talk about this thing, and it's consistent with what you already do for a living. Next, we're going to, as affiliates, we're going to be able to put different affiliate links in here to different things that go about helping under each category, go about helping people get over this executive dysfunction. Now, 3 opportunities to earn a good living from using one phrase is what we're trying to do. And this is how I wanted to show you we can monetize this piece of information here so that it goes about making us a good amount of living, and how we also tap into the power of AI and get it done very quickly. This took me about an hour. So now, 3 ways to earn from it. Takes you about an hour. Imagine if this is all you did all day long. And then, of course, like I'm doing now, we create a video about it. And then from that video, we use that. We're going to throw that on a landing page. Maybe I'll show that a little bit later. And then we're going to send this out to some people that might want us to do more of that. So we give them a chance to hire us. So now that's another way that we can earn from using information, using AI, and going out there and making a good living for ourselves. All right, so I want to close this with this. These are the kind of things that we should be doing every single day, because we have now these answer engines in AI that will allow us to look up things very, very easily, very, very quickly. I'm going to show you some of the tools that I use. I'll leave links to the tools that I use to create this in the fast way that I did. Some are free, some are paid. I'll let you know which ones are each. But you can go about this in a very structured way, and within a couple of hours, create something that can make you some good money. All right, I wanted to share this with you. Hopefully this puts cash in your pockets today. If it doesn't, you call me up and I'll show you how we can go even deeper in other strategies that'll do the same thing. All right, let's talk again on the next video.